Once you decide to make healthy changes, it can be really exciting, but that doesn't necessarily mean that those closest to you are going to be on the same page. So what do you do when your family just isn't on board with your healthy lifestyle? That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, if you are finding yourself in this situation, I have to say I totally feel for you. It can be really challenging because being healthy and taking care of your body is really important to you, but these relationships you have with your family are really important as well. So that's why today I'm giving you my top 5 tips for what you can do if you're trying to eat healthier and you want the whole family to come along with you. Tip number 1 is don't make a big deal out of it. And this can be really hard because if you have finally gotten that spark and the motivation and the desire to start making changes, you want to tell everyone. I mean, you're really excited about it. But the thing is, if you start telling your whole family about these changes you want to make, it can start things off on the wrong foot. Because if you put yourself in their shoes, this can really come at them as a threat because we all like our comfort. We like our routine. We don't like things to change. And food is a big part of the way we live our life. We're eating at least 3 times a day, sometimes more. And so if someone comes at you and says, hey, we're changing everything, we're shaking it all up, that can feel like something you need to defend against, right? Because it's something that's changing your routine. And usually we're not a big fan of change, especially if it's being forced upon us and we don't have a choice in the matter. So instead, what you can do is make gradual changes, but do it kind of silently. So for example, when that box of sugary cereal runs out, don't repurchase it and instead replace it with a healthier alternative like my Almond Joy granola. That's a recipe that can substitute as a cereal item, but it's a lot healthier than some of the other items that you might buy at the store. And when you do things this way, it's a much gentler transition for your family. And if they start asking questions, of course, be honest with them and say, hey, why didn't you buy XYZ? I haven't seen that around in a while. You can just say, well, I realized that wasn't the healthiest thing for our family, and I really want us to be healthy so that we can have full lives together, be able to do things we want to do and really take care of ourselves. So that's why I decided to try these other things instead. And that makes that whole conversation go a lot smoother because instead of you just throwing this at them and jamming it down their throat, it's them bringing it to you like, hey, I noticed we didn't have this, blah, 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 and then it starts that opportunity to have a discussion about it. Tip number 2 is to make healthy food delicious food. And this is really important because a lot of times when people think of healthy food, they also think that it doesn't taste very good. And that's totally not the case. Eating healthy doesn't mean having baked chicken or steamed fish and steamed vegetables at every single meal. And it also doesn't mean eating a lot of healthy food products that are just poor imitations of the real thing and don't taste very good. The best way to have healthy food be delicious food is to eat real food because real food is full of flavor, but it also has the nutrients and all the things our body needs, and it doesn't have a lot of those additives and stuff that just generally isn't that good for us. A perfect example would be a roasted chicken on a bed of roasted vegetables. So roasted chicken is something that most people like. It's generally considered a comfort food, but it's a really healthy option. If you are getting a chicken that's raised on pasture and is living a really healthy life, then that chicken is going to be healthy for you and your family. And then with the veggies, you can swap in or swap out whatever vegetables your family likes. And roasting is one of the best way to cook just about anything because it really concentrates the flavor. So if your family loves potatoes, you can have some of those in there, peppers, you could have radishes in the springtime, you can do broccoli, cauliflower, squash, I mean whatever the season is and whatever your family likes, you can put in there. And that's something that most people are going to be pretty happy to eat because it tastes good. Now you might be thinking, okay Sarah, that sounds great, but in my house we aren't even cooking dinner regularly right now. We're doing like fast food or frozen dinners, so if I roast up this chicken with the vegetables and all that stuff, people are gonna know that something's up. It's gonna be out of the ordinary and people probably are gonna be a little cautious about it. So if that's the case for you, then a good place to start with this is making real food versions of your family's favorite meals. So for example, if your family really loves pizza, you can make your own pizza at home with real food ingredients. So it's still their favorite food, but it's just made in a better for you way. And there's tons of different options for crust. You can do a cauliflower crust, you can just do a whole wheat crust that you make, and then you can do the sauce, grate up the cheese, have all kinds of different toppings, and you can even adjust that to what the different members of your family like. And it can be something that is really delicious, but it's also real food. And so that way they're getting those foods that they love, but you know that it's a little bit better version. Another example would be macaroni and cheese. If you're doing the boxed macaroni and cheese, just make a version yourself with like whole wheat noodles. You can use like a really great fresh cheese and just do it the same thing. It's just in a better way. Tip number 3 is to offer variety at meal times. So not everyone likes the same things. And this is true no matter if you're eating junk food or you're eating really healthy. People just have different preferences. So if you can build your meals in a way that there are a few different options, then that can be a really great way to try different foods, try different recipes, and have healthy options available, but still please everyone at the dinner table. So for example, if you want to make eggplant, but you know that the other people in your family aren't really going to be digging the eggplant situation, then you can have the eggplant as a side dish, but then maybe you also have mashed potatoes or some sort of ground beef thing or a stir fry or whatever. You're having different parts to the meal, and you can build it in a way so that you know that everyone in the family is going to have at least one thing that they enjoy. And that way you get to have your eggplant and try it, but it's not like you're holding everyone hostage to the eggplant and they have to eat it or they're gonna starve. They should at least have one thing there that they can eat and be satisfied. Tip number 4 is to accept. We have to accept the people in our lives where they are. You can't force anyone into this. And I mean, think about you yourself. This might not have been something that was super important to you or that you even wanted to do until you got that spark and that urge and that motivation and that inspiration. And just because you have found that and you are in that place doesn't mean that everyone around you is going to be in that place as well. So keep doing your thing, but also accept that the people around you, it might take them a little while to get to where you are, and they might never get to where you are. And that can be hard, especially when we're talking about something like health, because these are people you care about and you want them to be healthy and you want them to find all the things that you're finding, but you just can't force them into it because it actually can end up backfiring on you. You know, if you are really trying to force this on someone, they can get to a place where they resent you, they don't want to be around you, and it can cause fissures and other problems in those relationships that are so important to you, and you definitely don't want that to happen. And tip number 5 is to be consistent. So keep doing your thing, living your life the way you want to, and you might notice that people start to come around. You just never know what is going to be that thing that is going to make someone change their mind or want to make a change in the way they're living their life. It might happen just from them seeing what you're doing and seeing the changes that you're experiencing yourself, and that might be the thing that makes them think, whoa, I want what she has. Or it might just be something that they're exposed to because of you. So sometimes what we have to say isn't the thing that those closest to us are going to listen to. Sometimes they have to hear it from somewhere else. So whether it's a movie or someone on television or a book or something that they come across, by you being consistent and living your life that way, that makes it more likely that they're going to be exposed to that information. And they might just hear the message enough times or in that certain way that they need to hear it that makes that light bulb go off in their head and makes them want to make changes. And when you're consistent and you live your life this way, it makes it so that you're not being oppressive and you're not like pushing something down onto someone else, especially people in your family who are other adults, because you definitely don't want it to become a relationship where you become almost like a parent or an authoritative figure over them. And that goes back to that acceptance thing. You know, when we're not pushing this stuff onto people, then that makes it a lot more likely that they're going to come around and want to be a part of it. And it also helps prevent any damage that could be done to those relationships by pushing something on someone before they're ready for it. So those are my tips for getting your family on board with healthy eating, and let me know in the comments if this is something that you have ever struggled with, where the people in your life, the ones that you're closest to, just haven't been on the same page as you when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle. And if you are new to my channel and you want more healthy eating tips and nutrition info and healthy recipes, make sure that you subscribe, because eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle really doesn't have to be complicated, and I want to show you how to do it. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.